Very good morning. Welcome back to the show. 11:52 is the time. I'm Julia Hartley-Brewer. Sam Armstrong still with me. Delighted to be joined now by former head teacher Tim Clark. Very good morning to you, Tim.
Morning, Julia. Good to see you again.
I really should say Mr. Clark. It's head teacher. I think we should. Mr. Clark. Hello, sir. Good morning, sir. Sorry for being late, sir. I want to talk to you about Stonehenge. Now, I don't remember Stonehenge coming up much on the curriculum at my comp, but in terms of being taught history, I think I certainly want my child and any child in this country to be taught accurate history in terms of who built Stonehenge. It was built by Britons, ancient Britons. It's the most amazing, beautiful site. Tourists come from far and wide to see Stonehenge. It's absolutely stunning. It really, when you see it, it really is something that kind of blows your mind. And now we understand that children in British schools are being taught that that monument was built by black people here in the UK. This has been put in a book called Brilliant Black British History. It's been written by a Nigerian-born British author, Atinuke, and states that Britain was a black country for more than 7,000 years before white people came. And the book is marketed as a must-have in any school library. And according to a Policy Exchange, the think tank, this is now being widely taught to an awful lot of pupils. What do you make of that? And is it true?
Well, that's exactly the starting point, isn't it, Julia? To have an open debate, is it true? Yes, history does change as new facts, new evidence comes to light. Well, if someone comes up with this theory, let's have it explored. Let's have the best scientists and the best historians explore it. If it's true, great, it's a new historical theory. If it's utter hogwash, then it shouldn't be anywhere near a school library or a school textbook. The fear is that, and I have to say I have not read this, but the fear is, what I have read about it, is that it's based on evidence that has been misunderstood or, worse still, deliberately misrepresented. That's the real worry. But if someone wants to come up with a theory, let's discuss it in the open. And as I say, if it's true, it's true. If it's not true, let's forget it.
And we have this, don't we? I did history A-level, it's revisionism. And, again, after wars, for instance, it's the winner who writes the history and then it can be revised later and you get to different perspectives. Absolutely. But the thing is, what's interesting, this report by Policy Exchange says that 83%, so 8 out of 10 secondary schools have changed their history curriculum to, quote, decolonise the curriculum. Explain to us what decolonisation of history curriculums mean.
Well, it's not just the history curriculum, it's the English literature curriculum, it's the science curriculum, the math curriculum. And the concept basically is that our policymakers want our curriculum to represent the vibrant multicultural country that we are. And of course, there is a place for that. But the difficulty is that the danger is that you then forget everything that happened in the hundreds and hundreds of years before Britain became a multicultural country in the middle of the 20th century. And some people won't like me saying, but there's no doubt about it. Before then, Britain was dominated by dead white men. That is a fact. That is our
I don't even know why you feel the need to put the proviso. It is a simple matter of fact that we are almost entirely a white country until about 30 years ago.
Absolutely. And you see, there's a current review going on of the national curriculum by the current government. In my view, very worryingly, this is being rushed through. There's been no open consultation. There was a 2-month period where people could submit evidence, but only 7,000 people did. That's out of 500,000 teachers, 9 million sets of parents, higher education, business, enterprise.
It'll be the activists who get in touch.
Absolutely. And the DfE has stated that the new national curriculum is to be relevant. Oh. Well, what is relevant?
Oh, God, it'll just be rap instead of Shakespeare. That's what it always ends up being. That's the thing. But it's interesting, because I want to pick you up, because you said, we're a diverse sort of multicultural country. No, I don't want us to be a multicultural country. I want us to be a British country. I'm happy for it to be multiracial. I think, race is completely irrelevant. I want it to be not a monoculture, but certainly a clear, dominant culture that is shared by everyone. So you can have your little bit if you come from Italy, a little bit of Italian culture, a bit of Nigerian culture, a bit of Jamaican culture, bit of Palestinian culture if you want. But the dominant culture needs to be British established culture, our values, our cultural traditions and the like. And that seems to me to be what the vast majority of people want. By the way, previously, people of any race. And I think the confusing, the multiracial and multicultural has been the issue, because you're kind of basically saying anyone of different colours, like, as a different culture. And that shouldn't be the case. And that's the problem, is this idea that anything that happened when we were largely a white country was bad, and now we're a good country because not everyone's white. That is quite a message to tell young children.
Absolutely. And I think, yes, we've got to reflect what's happened over the 50 years, last 50, 60 years. But of course, what unites people in this country is that they live in Britain.
Yes.
That is the big uniting factor. They live here. There is a medieval church in practically every town and village. Yeah. That is part of our culture.
Yeah.
And of course, that's what we should stress. I say not exclusively. We don't want the danger of producing sort of xenophobic nationalists.
No, but we don't.
Need people to understand.
But again, one of the things Policy Exchange looked at was, what topics kids were learning in history, and virtually every school covers slavery and covers the Industrial Revolution and stuff. Kids are learning about this stuff. I mean, the biggest problem, I think, is we're the only country in the world that teaches our kids that we're a bad country, our history is bad, our culture is bad. We are intrinsically wrong and evil and have done bad things in the world. No other country does that.
But, and linked to that, Julia, is also this problem or this mindset that if you study something, you agree with it. I mean, for years, schools have been scared about teaching the British Empire. Yeah. Well, to teach the British Empire, to teach that Britain ruled a quarter of the globe and practically every ocean, that isn't passing comment on.
No, it's an established fact. Again, also, but what you should do is teach more about the other countries that had big empires and say, maybe Britain wasn't such a bad colonial power as others. So good to talk to you. Mr. Clark, Tim Clark, former head teacher, thank you very much. Time's against us. This is Talk.